Well, it is a beautiful morning, so I thought I would take you along and show you what the garden looks like. We are in a heat wave, so this is like day 3 of it being like almost 100 degrees here, which is way too hot here considering, we're used to like 80 and none of us have air conditioning. So let's take you along and I'll show you how the garden is doing. Well, here is a view from the sidewalk. My husband pointed out in the last video, I called these persimmons, and these are actually pomegranates. And look how beautiful. And the potatoes. I think I got a little cold, so some of them, the leaves kind of dropped off. But the lavender is just doing beautiful. You can see there's some bees, but the flowers are just starting to open up. So the bees are super happy, and that's a honeybee. So that's what I do. I wait for them to kind of open up, and then I will harvest them. And this is pretty much the last of the nasturtium. Once it starts to dry out, they don't do so well. But you can see, look how tall the sunflower is getting. I saw little birds on it today, so they've been eating the leaves. And then this is really pretty with all the flowers, but they're actually almost done. So I'll be pulling all these out very shortly. But it's pretty right now. And the strawberries are doing really well. I have found when it heats up, you almost have to water it every day. And the onions. More of the onions are starting to bulb. And the sweet peas have just really started. That's what these are. So we'll see. I realize that this garden doesn't get the heat of the day. So that is going to be a little bit hard to grow some of the summer stuff. As you can see, the peppers are just kind of long and leggy, even though they have a lot of flowers on them, and some of them even have some peppers. But because they don't get the heat of the day, which is actually really the hottest part is like almost 3 to 6 here. They get more than 8 hours of sun, but because they don't get that really heat, because it stays cool here until pretty late. Here is the second bed. I've been pulling out the peas, and you can see there's still some peas, but I've got the onions, and then the tomatillos are lots of flowers. Oh, this one actually is growing the tomatillo. So here it's in its little skin. But the tomatillo hasn't formed in there yet. And then I put in some cucumbers and some squash. And I'll replant some of these squash because I put them in like really early. So I'm going to start some from seed. And these are cabbages. So this bed will have cucumbers, a couple of squash for the summer. And then this is the third bed. That's where all the calendula was, and I cut it down. And then the tomatoes. Again, tomatoes like it really hot, but I have grown tomatoes here. There we'll just kind of wait until it gets warmer out. And I got some basil and the onions down here. Bed where I really want to have greens, which I've been struggling with. So I've started a whole bunch more with seeds. You can see here where I started some seeds, and I'll thin them out. And then this cabbage. And you can see one of the cool things about cabbage leaves is that they're actually kind of waterproof. You can see there's some water pulling up here. You could almost use them like a cup. So I'm learning. Like I said, this is my first summer with these beds. And that's the thing about garden. You know, it takes some time to really learn what will work, where the garden is and where you are. So it'll just take time. But all my herbs are doing really good. This is the area with the new stuff. Herbs do really well. They don't need so much sun or heat. And then here is all the succulents. And the succulents have been here for at least 4 years, so I know that they do really well. These ones are getting ready to flower. The flowers will come out of these. And one of the things I did was I planted some poppies, and the white poppies have come up. They're just beautiful. So at night they kind of close up, and then as the day goes and warms up, they open up. You can see this one just starting to open up. And they won't be here very long. So we'll let them flower, and then I'll cut them back. And just like these flowers, they're almost done, and I'll cut them back. And I just cut them at the base. I don't actually pull them out. And I do let some of them go to seed. So the nasturtium, it's almost done. And then the succulents will have all their space back. Well, I'm going to take you in the backyard and I'll show you the fruit trees. Well, we can start here. The jasmine's in bloom. It's over here by my composting. And hopefully I can get it to cover this whole area here. So here's the lemon tree. You can see, you know, if you go back, I really pruned this and it's really bushing out. It's got fruit on it. And then here is the persimmon tree, and it is just covered in persimmons. You can just see them. Each branch just has tons of them. I mean, you can just see how loaded. And this is the first year of really getting so many. Like actually last year I don't think I got any because Waylon over there, Waylon, do you eat the persimmons when they're green? Yes. But I'm gonna have to read into it and see if I need to thin these out. And this beautiful bush, it's like a, I don't know what it's called, but it's like something maple. It's not like a maple tree. It has these bell flowers on it, but this one's variegated and it's loving it over here. Rosie. Rosie does not know her name. Huh, Rosie? But Daisy does. Sit down. Daisy knows her name. So does Waylon. Huh? We have to teach Rosie. Rosie her name? Huh? Oh. Now they're all gonna get crazy. That's how Daisy plays. Daisy plays so rough with Waylon. But Daisy's been playing good with the puppy. Huh? As long as we don't swing her around with her toy. Rosie, what do you think? You like to play? Yes, Waylon. Waylon likes to play. Well, here is the passion fruit. I actually don't see any flowers. It just had some flowers. But if you look up here, there is 2 of the passion fruits. Now you have to wait for them to turn purple and wrinkle up. And then when you cut them open, they have seeds and kind of this slimy stuff, but it's very fragrant and yummy. Oh, here, let's see, here is a passion fruit flower. And again, it's doing really well here. It has been here for at least 3 years. And as long as we don't get a heavy frost, it'll do really well. Here is some more of these flowers. These, I'm not sure what the name are, but they're in the sage family, and chickens don't eat them. So, and they almost always have flowers, and the bees and the hummingbirds like them. Here is the sesame, and he is doing really well. Look at all them fruit. This is our oldest fruit tree. You can see how big it is. And even the fig tree. I'm really glad this year it didn't really grow a lot of branches. It just kind of filled out, so that's been really nice. Now here's another one, and actually this is what they are. And the lipsticks are these ones where they're white with the red tip. But they come in other colors. They come in white. I have some white ones out front, and then these are red ones. And even these purple. And you can see how big they get. I just planted these like last fall. And I just heavily prune them, and they just come back. So I'm going to definitely add more. It brings some color to the garden since the chickens won't eat them. I wanted to show you the apple tree. I am excited about the apple tree. It's doing so well. I'm actually thinning the fruit out. So I haven't really thinned the fruit here, but over on this side, I've thinned them out. And I won't super thin them because I still find that the rats and other animals eat them. So they'll thin them out too. I am so excited about my loofah. This is 2 plants, and they have just gotten so big and are doing so well. Now, loofahs have a long growing season, and they do like it hot. And this gets the hot sun. Right now it's in the shade, but it won't be long, and then this will be in full sun, and it gets sun all the way until almost 8 o'clock. So it gets the heat of the sun. So that one has 2 plants. And then this one is 1. But I'm super excited to grow the loofah. Well, I'm over at the neighbors taking a look at my tomatoes, and they are doing so well. These are the determinate tomatoes. So they'll get a little bit bigger, but I can already see some have tomatoes, and a lot of them already have flowers. You can see here, this one getting some flowers. And you can see they do get some shade, but they're still doing good. These ones over here that are more in the shade aren't doing as well. But that's the thing. You just have to try and see how it goes. And even if you wouldn't get as many as you would have liked, you'll probably get some. And then you've learned to maybe, do it a little different next year. Here's the potatoes. They were doing really well, and then they're not doing so well now. So I'm not sure what happened. I do worry about them being up on the fence. They could have sprayed something on the other side of the fence, because it's the ones close to the fence aren't doing so well. And that's another thing when you got neighbors, you're not always sure what they're doing on the other side. But we'll see. See how it goes. Well, I'm going to close it out here. I hope that you liked the look around the garden today. I would love to hear where you are at and what you're growing. If you like this video, subscribe And then remember to click that bell so you can get notified when I put up a new video, which I do quite often. Well, thank you very much.